Stem cells are often called the body's master cells because they have the unique ability to transform into many different types of specialized cells. They can become muscle cells, blood cells, nerve cells, or even tissue that repairs damaged organs. What makes them so vital is that they act like a built-in repair system that is always on standby, ready to step in whenever the body needs restoration. When you scrape your knee and new skin grows back, when your liver heals after damage, or when your blood supply regenerates after injury, stem cells are the silent forces working behind the scenes. But here's the part most people don't realize: stem cells are not just influenced by genetics or age, they are also directly influenced by the food we eat every single day. Research in the United States has shown that certain foods can actually stimulate the activity of stem cells, encouraging them to multiply, repair, and regenerate tissues. Instead of relying only on medical treatments, your kitchen can become one of the most powerful tools to awaken this hidden healing system. For example, scientists at major institutions have studied compounds in everyday foods that signal the body to produce more stem cells or protect the ones already circulating in your bloodstream. This means that with the right diet, you can actually support your body's ability to rejuvenate itself at a cellular level. Foods rich in polyphenols, for example, are some of the strongest stem cell activators. Polyphenols are natural compounds found in plants that act like messengers, telling your body's stem cells to wake up and get to work. Take blueberries, packed with anthocyanins, which not only fight inflammation, but also encourage stem cells in your bone marrow to become more active. These stem cells then circulate through the body and can repair tissues damaged by wear and tear or oxidative stress. In fact, blueberries have been studied for their role in improving brain health because they stimulate the growth of new nerve cells, something once thought impossible for adults. Green tea is another food with a powerful effect on stem cells. It contains EGCG's epigallocatechin gallate, a compound shown to boost the number and activity of endothelial progenitor cells, which are stem cells that repair blood vessels. When these cells are active, they restore circulation, keep arteries flexible, and prevent the kind of damage that leads to heart attacks and strokes. This is critical in the United States, where cardiovascular disease is still the #1 cause of death. By drinking green tea daily, you are not only protecting your heart, but also enhancing your body's ability to heal itself from the inside out. Even something as simple as dark chocolate has been studied for its stem cell boosting abilities. High-quality cocoa is rich in flavonols, which stimulate stem cells to repair blood vessels and improve circulation. This is why clinical studies have found that eating a small amount of dark chocolate daily can improve vascular function. It's not about indulging in sugar or processed candy, but about harnessing the natural compounds in real, pure cocoa to turn on the regenerative power of stem cells. One of the most remarkable discoveries in recent years has been the role of omega-3 fatty acids in stem cell activation. Found in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, omega-3s not only reduce inflammation, but also increase the ability of stem cells to regenerate damaged heart tissue. In fact, studies in American hospitals have shown that patients who consume diets rich in omega-3s recover better after heart-related issues because their stem cells are more active in repairing blood vessels and heart muscle. This means that what you choose to eat today can literally shape how well your heart heals tomorrow. Another fascinating area of research focuses on cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, and Brussels sprouts. These vegetables contain sulforaphane, a compound that not only detoxifies harmful chemicals from the body, but also boosts the production of stem cells that protect the lining of your gut. A healthy gut is essential for overall well-being because it affects immunity, metabolism, and even mental clarity. By eating cruciferous vegetables regularly, you are fueling stem cells that keep your digestive tract strong and resilient, reducing the risk of chronic diseases that affect millions of Americans every year. Mushrooms, particularly varieties like shiitake and maitake, are also powerful allies for stem cells. They contain beta-glucans, compounds that interact with the immune system and stimulate bone marrow stem cells to produce more white blood cells. These are the cells that patrol your body, fighting infections and defending against illnesses. In a country where immune-related conditions are on the rise, supporting stem cell-driven immunity with foods like mushrooms could be a simple, natural strategy for better health. The relationship between food and stem cells goes even deeper when we consider fasting and calorie restriction. Studies in the US have found that periods of intermittent fasting can trigger the body to produce new stem cells, particularly in the gut and immune system. When combined with the right foods after fasting, such as legumes, whole grains, and leafy greens, the regeneration process is amplified. This is not about starving yourself, but about strategically giving your body periods of rest, followed by nutrient-dense meals that encourage stem cell activation. The exciting truth is that we are no longer powerless against aging or disease. The foods available in American grocery stores, farmers markets, and even backyard gardens contain bioactive compounds that can literally switch on our body's ability to regenerate. Whether it's blueberries for the brain, green tea for blood vessels, salmon for the heart, broccoli for the gut, or mushrooms for immunity, each bite you take can help your stem cells do their job more effectively. This is not theory, it is science-backed evidence that what you put on your plate today can determine how your body repairs itself tomorrow. Cancer is often described as a disease of uncontrolled growth, where abnormal cells multiply endlessly and form tumors that invade the body. But what many people don't realize is that these cancer cells, like all living cells, need fuel to survive. They don't grow in isolation. They depend on a network of blood vessels to deliver oxygen and nutrients, just like healthy tissues do. Without blood supply, cancer cells cannot expand, spread, or develop into life-threatening tumors. This process of growing new blood vessels is called angiogenesis. While angiogenesis is essential for normal healing, cancer hijacks this system to feed itself. By stimulating the body to grow abnormal networks of blood vessels, tumors secure the lifeline they need to thrive. Scientists in the United States have spent decades studying how to stop this process, and one of the most powerful discoveries is that certain everyday foods contain natural compounds that can cut off that blood supply, effectively starving cancer cells before they can become dangerous. The body already has natural defense systems in place to regulate angiogenesis. When you get a cut, new blood vessels form to heal the wound, and then the process shuts down when it's no longer needed. But cancer tricks the body into keeping angiogenesis switched on, continuously growing new vessels that feed the tumor. Anti-angiogenic foods act like natural regulators, restoring balance and preventing cancer from abusing this system. One of the most striking examples comes from green tea. Rich in catechins such as EGCG, green tea has been studied extensively for its ability to inhibit the formation of new blood vessels that feed tumors. Clinical studies conducted in American research centers have shown that green tea consumption reduces the risk of certain cancers and slows tumor growth by cutting off its supply lines. Tomatoes, especially when cooked, are another food that plays a crucial role in this process. They are rich in lycopene, a compound that has been found to interfere with tumor angiogenesis. In fact, large population studies in the US have shown that men who eat tomato-based foods regularly have a significantly lower risk of prostate cancer. The mechanism is not simply about antioxidants, but about lycopene's ability to block abnormal blood vessel growth, starving cancer cells of the oxygen and nutrients they crave. This demonstrates how simple dietary choices can create powerful protective effects against one of the deadliest diseases in America. Berries, particularly strawberries and blackberries, are also rich in anti-angiogenic compounds like ellagic acid and anthocyanins. These natural chemicals have been shown in laboratory studies to stop the enzymes that cancer cells use to stimulate blood vessel growth. In practice, this means that adding a handful of fresh berries to your daily diet could help reduce the likelihood that precancerous cells ever develop into full-blown tumors. In fact, researchers at Ohio State University have conducted human studies where patients with precancerous lesions in the esophagus were given freeze-dried strawberry powder. The results showed that the lesions shrank, providing real-world evidence of how anti-angiogenic foods can work inside the human body. Even spices like turmeric have been studied for their anti-angiogenic properties. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, interferes with multiple pathways that tumors use to stimulate new blood vessel formation. American researchers have tested curcumin not just in test tubes, but also in cancer patients, and the results consistently show that it can slow tumor progression by choking off the supply of nutrients to cancer cells. Considering that turmeric is inexpensive, widely available, and safe to use in cooking, it highlights the remarkable accessibility of these natural cancer-fighting strategies. Red grapes and their skins contain resveratrol, another powerful anti-angiogenic compound. Resveratrol doesn't just slow down angiogenesis, it also helps stabilize healthy blood vessels while making it harder for tumors to form new ones. This dual action makes it particularly effective, and it explains why diets that include grapes or red grape juice have been linked to lower cancer risks in American studies. Unlike harsh medical treatments, these foods provide gentle, supportive effects that work with the body's own natural defense systems. Soy-based foods such as tofu and soy milk also contain natural molecules called genistein and daidzein, which have been studied for their ability to block angiogenesis. Researchers in the US have discovered that populations who consume soy regularly, especially in Asian American communities, have a lower incidence of certain cancers compared to groups with little soy in their diets. This suggests that dietary habits rooted in plant-based foods may naturally protect against the development of tumors by keeping angiogenesis under control. What makes this research so groundbreaking is that it changes how we think about cancer prevention and treatment. Instead of waiting until a tumor becomes advanced and then trying to destroy it with aggressive therapies, the goal is to create an internal environment where cancer cannot even establish itself. By using food as medicine, Americans have the opportunity to defend their bodies on a daily basis, meal after meal, against the early steps of cancer development. Each sip of green tea, each serving of tomatoes, each sprinkle of turmeric becomes part of a strategy to deny tumors their lifeline. The implications for public health are enormous. In a country where cancer remains the second leading cause of death, understanding that something as simple as dietary choices can directly cut off cancer's fuel supply provides hope and empowerment. It means that prevention is not only possible but within reach for every household. Families who prioritize anti-angiogenic foods can help protect themselves and their children from one of the greatest health threats in modern America without waiting for symptoms or diagnosis. By reshaping the daily diet around foods that block abnormal blood vessel growth, Americans can begin shifting the odds in their favor and giving their bodies a natural line of defense against cancer's relentless hunger. Nutrition has always been thought of as a way to keep the body fueled, to provide calories and basic nutrients needed for survival. But modern science is uncovering a far deeper truth. What you eat is not just fuel, it is information that communicates with your genes, your cells, and your immune system. Every bite you take sends signals throughout your body, influencing how your defenses respond to threats, how your organs repair themselves, and how diseases like cancer and heart disease either progress or are stopped in their tracks. In the United States, where processed foods and fast food culture dominates so much of the diet, many people overlook the simple reality that daily nutrition is one of the most powerful forms of medicine we have. When you choose the right foods consistently, you are not only feeding your body, you are activating its natural healing systems in ways no drug or supplement can fully replicate. The immune system is one of the primary areas where food exerts its influence. Your immune cells are constantly on guard, patrolling for bacteria, viruses, and abnormal cells that could turn into cancer. But in order for them to function at their highest level, they require nutrients, vitamins, and plant-based compounds found in everyday foods. Vitamin C from citrus fruit supports the production and activity of white blood cells. Zinc, found in nuts and seeds, strengthens immune responses. Omega-3 fatty acids from salmon or walnuts reduce harmful inflammation, helping the immune system stay balanced and effective. When Americans rely heavily on processed food diets, they strip their immune systems of these vital nutrients, weakening the body's ability to fight back. On the other hand, diets rich in fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, and healthy fats empower the immune system, creating a front line of defense that is active every single day. What makes food so unique compared to medication is its ability to work on multiple systems at once. A bowl of blueberries does not only provide antioxidants, it also lowers inflammation, supports brain health, protects blood vessels, and enhances immune function simultaneously. A serving of broccoli delivers sulforaphane, which activates detoxification pathways, protects DNA, and helps repair cells that have been damaged by free radicals. These effects ripple through the body, influencing every level of health. This is why nutrition is often referred to as polypharmacy. Without the side effects, it acts like many medicines combined into one, but comes naturally packaged in whole foods. One of the clearest examples of daily nutrition functioning as medicine is in the prevention of chronic diseases, which account for the majority of deaths in the United States. Heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and cancer are all strongly tied to dietary habits. Whole grains, leafy greens, beans, and berries can lower blood pressure, balance blood sugar, and reduce body fat, all while supplying the nutrients the body needs to operate efficiently. For instance, oats contain beta-glucan fiber, which has been clinically proven to lower cholesterol. Avocados provide healthy monounsaturated fats that stabilize heart rhythms. Garlic contains allicin, which helps lower blood pressure and reduce inflammation in blood vessels. These are not isolated effects, they are daily reinforcements that improve the body's resilience. By choosing these foods again and again, Americans can use their meals as a daily prescription for better health. The power of daily nutrition also lies in its ability to turn on and off genes that influence disease risk. This is the science of epigenetics, and it shows how food literally rewrites the instructions your body follows. Cruciferous vegetables like kale and cabbage contain compounds that silence cancer, promoting genes while activating tumor, suppressing ones. Green tea catechins have been found to influence DNA repair mechanisms, helping to fix cellular errors before they develop into disease. Turmeric's curcumin has been shown to regulate inflammation-related genes, lowering the risk of chronic inflammatory conditions that plague millions of Americans. This is not abstract theory. It is scientific evidence that your fork is one of the most powerful tools for controlling your long-term health. Beyond disease prevention, nutrition works as medicine by enhancing energy levels, mood, and mental clarity. The human brain requires a constant supply of nutrients to function optimally. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish or flaxseed enhance memory and concentration. Dark leafy greens deliver folate and vitamin K, which are essential for slowing cognitive decline. Polyphenols in berries improve communication between neurons, keeping the brain sharper as we age. Contrast this with the effects of diets high in refined sugar and unhealthy fats, which lead to brain fog, mood swings, and eventually higher risks of dementia. By treating food as medicine, people can protect not only their physical health, but also their mental well-being, creating a foundation for productivity, creativity, and emotional resilience. Another dimension of food as medicine is the microbiome, the trillions of bacteria in your gut that influence digestion, immunity, and even mood. The health of the microbiome is directly tied to what you eat. Fiber-rich foods like beans, lentils, and whole grains act as prebiotics, feeding beneficial gut bacteria and encouraging them to thrive. Fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, and sauerkraut provide probiotics, replenishing the microbiome with healthy strains of bacteria. A balanced microbiome has been linked to reduced risks of obesity, autoimmune disorders, depression, and even cancer. Unfortunately, the standard American diet, heavy in processed meats, sugars, and refined grains, damages this ecosystem, allowing harmful bacteria to dominate. By consistently choosing whole, plant-based, and probiotic-rich foods, Americans can restore microbiome balance and harness its healing power. Daily nutrition also helps regulate inflammation, a root cause of many modern diseases. Inflammation itself is not harmful, it is a natural response to injury or infection. But chronic, low-grade inflammation caused by poor diet is a silent trigger for heart disease, cancer, arthritis, and Alzheimer's disease. Foods like extra virgin olive oil, fatty fish, leafy greens, nuts, and turmeric help calm inflammation naturally. At the same time, they strengthen the immune system and repair cellular damage. This anti-inflammatory effect is one of the most important ways food functions as medicine, particularly in a country where inflammatory diseases are widespread. Ultimately, food provides a foundation that no pill can replace. Every meal becomes an opportunity to activate healing, repair damage, and defend the body against threats. In the United States, where healthcare often focuses on treating disease after it appears, the concept of nutrition as medicine offers a different path, a proactive, preventative, and empowering approach that begins at the dinner table. By eating with intention, Americans can transform their daily choices into powerful acts of healing, creating stronger immune systems, resilient organs, and a body that is constantly defending itself from harm. Food is not just about satisfying hunger or providing short bursts of energy to get through the day. It is the cornerstone of long-term health, shaping the way the body functions, heals, and resists disease over an entire lifetime. In the United States, where chronic illnesses such as obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer affect millions of people, the role of food goes far beyond basic nutrition. It becomes the single most powerful influence that can determine whether someone merely survives or thrives well into their older years. Unlike medications that are taken for specific conditions, food works across multiple systems, simultaneously strengthening immunity, repairing cells, and keeping organs resilient. By choosing foods with healing properties day after day, people can build a foundation of vitality that supports not just prevention, but also the reversal of damage caused by years of poor dietary habits. Long-term health begins with understanding that food interacts with the body at a cellular level. Every nutrient, every plant compound, and every natural chemical in food has the potential to influence how cells function. For example, antioxidants found in colorful fruits and vegetables neutralize free radicals that cause DNA damage. Over time, DNA damage can accumulate, leading to cancer, premature aging, or organ failure. By eating a diet rich in antioxidants like blueberries, spinach, pomegranates, and bell peppers, Americans can actively reduce cellular damage and protect their bodies against diseases that often develop silently over decades. This cellular protection is one reason people who consume diets high in fresh produce tend to live longer, healthier lives compared to those who eat processed, nutrient-poor foods. The heart is one of the clearest examples of how food supports long-term health. In the U.S., cardiovascular disease remains the #1 cause of death, but it is also one of the most preventable. Foods like oatmeal, walnuts, salmon, and olive oil contain fibers, omega-3 fatty acids, and healthy fats that lower cholesterol, stabilize blood sugar, and reduce artery inflammation. Over years of consistent consumption, these foods keep arteries flexible and strong, preventing the buildup of plaque that leads to heart attacks and strokes. Instead of waiting until problems develop and relying on medications, Americans can use their diet as a lifelong strategy to preserve cardiovascular health and reduce dependence on costly medical interventions. The brain is another area where food choices determine how well a person ages. Cognitive decline, memory loss, and Alzheimer's disease are on the rise in the United States, but nutrition can act as a protective shield. Dark leafy greens like kale and spinach provide vitamin K, lutein, and folate, all of which are associated with slower cognitive aging. Fatty fish like salmon deliver DHA, a form of omega-3 fatty acid critical for maintaining the structure of brain cells and supporting communication between neurons. Walnuts, rich in polyphenols and antioxidants, have been linked to improved memory and concentration. These foods, when consumed regularly over decades, do more than provide short-term benefits. They create a resilient brain capable of resisting the effects of aging and disease. Long-term health also depends heavily on maintaining a strong immune system, and nutrition is central to this process. The immune system requires a constant supply of micronutrients to function, including vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, selenium, and zinc. These are found in foods like carrots, oranges, mushrooms, and pumpkin seeds. When the immune system is supported by a nutrient-rich diet, it is more effective at preventing infections, detecting abnormal cells, and fighting diseases before they take hold. In contrast, a diet heavy in sugar, processed foods, and unhealthy fats weakens immune defenses, leaving the body vulnerable to illnesses that accumulate over time. This is why populations that consume balanced, plant-rich diets tend to have lower rates of cancer, autoimmune conditions, and chronic infections compared to populations dependent on the standard American diet. Digestive health is another critical factor in long-term vitality, and it is largely shaped by diet. The gut microbiome, a community of trillions of bacteria, affects not only digestion but also immunity, weight regulation, and even mood. A healthy microbiome thrives on dietary fiber and plant-based compounds. Foods like beans, lentils, whole grains, bananas, and asparagus provide prebiotics that feed beneficial bacteria, while fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, and kimchi supply probiotics that replenish healthy microbes. A balanced microbiome reduces inflammation throughout the body, supports nutrient absorption, and lowers the risk of diseases like colon cancer and diabetes. In the U.S., where digestive problems such as irritable bowel syndrome and inflammatory bowel disease are widespread, building gut health through food is one of the most important strategies for lifelong well-being. Bone health also relies on long-term dietary choices. Osteoporosis affects millions of older Americans, but it is not an inevitable part of aging. Calcium-rich foods like leafy greens, almonds, and dairy products, combined with vitamin D sources such as salmon or fortified foods, keep bones strong and dense. Magnesium from nuts and seeds further enhances bone integrity. By nourishing the skeletal system throughout life, rather than only in old age, people can prevent fractures and mobility issues that drastically reduce quality of life. This illustrates how food supports not just disease prevention, but also independence and vitality into later decades of life. Food also has a profound influence on metabolic health, which is directly linked to longevity. Refined carbohydrates, sugary beverages, and ultra-processed snacks drive insulin resistance, weight gain, and type 2 diabetes. Conversely, whole foods like quinoa, brown rice, legumes, and vegetables regulate blood sugar and keep insulin levels stable. Over decades, this protection prevents the cascade of problems, nerve damage, kidney disease, cardiovascular complications that often accompany diabetes in the U.S. By making whole, nutrient-dense foods the core of their diet, Americans can preserve metabolic health and avoid the long-term consequences of a sugar-heavy lifestyle. Another dimension of long-term health influenced by food is inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation acts as a hidden driver of many major illnesses, including cancer, heart disease, arthritis, and Alzheimer's disease. Diets high in fast food, fried foods, and processed meats worsen inflammation, while anti-inflammatory foods like extra virgin olive oil, turmeric, leafy greens, berries, and nuts calm it. The Mediterranean diet, which emphasizes these foods, has been linked to longer life expectancy and lower rates of chronic illness in American populations who adopt it. This demonstrates how a consistent dietary pattern can set the stage for decades of health, not just short-term symptom relief. Ultimately, the cumulative effect of food choices made day after day, year after year, determines the trajectory of health in the United States. Whether it is the brain, the heart, the bones, the gut, or the immune system, every part of the body responds to the nutrients it receives. People who embrace whole, unprocessed, plant-forward diets are not just preventing illness. They are investing in a future of strength, resilience, and vitality. This is the true power of food to influence long-term health, to reverse damage, and to sustain life well beyond what many imagine possible when meals are treated not as routine, but as medicine. At the end of the day, the message is simple but life-changing. Food is your most powerful weapon for health. The choices you make at the table every single day can regrow stem cells, starve cancer, supercharge your immune system, and build the foundation for lifelong vitality. You don't need to wait for sickness to strike before you act. Your body is ready to heal, defend, and thrive right now. Every bite is either medicine or poison, and the decision is always in your hands.